This book was a very special gift from my mom. And now I get to share this special gift with you. This is the magical tale of a boy who could speak to animals. Narrated by the one and only John Cleese. Once upon a time, deep within an enchanted forest filled with whispering trees and babbling brooks, there lived a young lad named Milo. Now, Milo wasn't just any ordinary farm boy. Oh, no. You see, Milo had a gift, a peculiar and wonderful gift. He could understand the language of animals. That's right. Whether it was a chatty squirrel or a wise old owl, Milo could comprehend their every word. And not only that, the animals could understand him too. One sunny afternoon, while Milo was helping his father in the fields, a frantic hen came scratching and squawking towards them. "Help us, Milo," she cried, her voice trembling with distress. "The miller's son has trapped our king, King Clouta, in his tower. If we don't do something, he'll be locked up forever." King Clout, the rooster, the leader of the farmyard animals, had been taken by the miller's son, and the animals were in desperate need of help. Now Milo loved the animals on the farm. They were his closest companions. So when he heard their desperate plea, his heart went out to them. "Don't worry, Henrietta," he said soothingly, stroking her ruffled feathers. "I'll go and save King Clouta. Lead the way." Without a moment's hesitation, Milo dropped his tools and set off into the whispering woods behind the farm, determined to rescue the captured king. The woods were dark and foreboding, and the anxious chatter of the animals echoed in Milo's ears. Will he be all right? Can he really help us? What if it's too late? Their worried murmurs fueled his determination to hurry forward. As he pushed through the thick undergrowth, Milo came across a babbling brook, its waters crystal clear and sparkling in the dappled sunlight. But to cross it, he would have to balance on a fallen log. As he stepped onto the swaying log, the animals followed hesitantly, their murmurs growing louder. Suddenly, the log lurched violently, threatening to send Milo tumbling into the water. Fear clutched at his heart. Was this the end? Would he be too late to save King Clouta? But then, from the bushes, a pair of beady eyes emerged, followed by the rest of a sleek, muscular body. It was a badger. And before Milo could even utter a word, the badger lunged, knocking him off the log and into the icy water. Gasping for breath, Milo struggled to surface, his ears and nose tingling with water. As he stumbled out of the stream, dripping and shivering, the animals rushed to his side, their murmurs turning into gasps of surprise. The badger stood before him, its arms crossed, a challenging glint in its eye. "Well, well, what have we here?" it sneered. "A farm boy come to rescue the king. How brave." Its mocking tone dripped with sarcasm, daring Milo to challenge him. Milo, though, was not one to back down. Despite his soaking wet clothes weighing him down, he glared back defiantly. "Let me pass," he demanded, his voice shaking with cold and anger. "You can't stop me." The badger let out a harsh bark, a cruel smile twisting its lips. "Oh, really? Then try this." With lightning speed, the badger lunged again, but this time Milo was prepared. Swiftly dodging the attack, he grabbed a handful of mud and flung it at the badger's face. Startled by the sudden projectile, the badger swatted at its eyes, momentarily blinded and furious. Seizing the opportunity, Milo dashed past the thrashing badger and continued his journey to the miller's tower, eager to rescue King Clout and free the farmyard animals from the clutches of the evil miller's son. With renewed determination, Milo sprinted through the forest, the animals following closely behind him. As they drew closer to the mill, the sound of rushing water grew louder, indicating the presence of a nearby waterfall. And beyond it lay the dreaded miller's tower. Suddenly, the forest fell silent. Every bird stopped singing, every insect ceased its buzzing, and even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Before them stood a towering wall of solid rock, so high that its peak disappeared into the clouds. Perched atop the wall was the miller's tower, its windows like watchful eyes peering into the forest. A shiver ran down Milo's spine. This was it. The fate of King Clatter and the farmyard animals rested on his shoulders. He turned to the animals, his eyes shining with determination. "I'm going to save King Clute," he declared, his voice echoing through the silent woods. "But I'll need your help." The animals, inspired by Milo's bravery, rallied together. "We're with you, Milo," they cried, their voices united in purpose. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Milo and the animals prepared for their daring mission. The plan was simple, yet fraught with danger. While Milo scaled the towering wall, the animals would serve as his eyes and ears, alerting him to any sign of danger. Taking a deep breath, Milo started his ascent. His fingers dug into the rough stone, pulling him higher and higher. Above him, the sky blazed with hues of orange and purple as the sun dipped below the horizon. Just when Milo thought he had reached the top, the wall suddenly gave way, sending him tumbling down onto a narrow ledge. Gasping from the fall, Milo looked up to see that the opening had collapsed, sealing his fate. Trapped on the ledge with only darkness surrounding him, despair threatened to engulf him. Was this the end? Had he failed the animals? Just when hope seemed to flicker, a faint glow appeared in the distance. As it grew brighter, Milo realized it was coming from a small hole in the wall. With renewed determination, he crawled through the narrow opening and found himself in a secret passageway. Cautiously, he moved forward, his hand brushing against a rough stone surface. Suddenly, his fingers brushed against something soft and furry. He turned to see a small brown mouse with wide, curious eyes staring back at him. "Who are you?" Milo whispered, startled by the unexpected encounter. "I'm Pip," squeaked the mouse, tilting his head. "And you are trespassing." Milo, realizing his manners, introduced himself and explained his mission to rescue King Clutter. Pip's eyes widened in understanding. "King Clutter," he squeaked, his tone filled with concern. "Yes, the miller's son has him locked up. But don't worry, I know a way to free him." With a flick of his tail, Pip led Milo deeper into the passageway. At the end of the tunnel, a heavy wooden door blocked their path. Pip scurried up a crack in the wall, peering through a keyhole. "It's clear," he squeaked, motioning for Milo to enter. Pushing open the door, Milo found himself in a dimly lit room with barred windows. In the corner sat King Clutter, his feathers ruffled, his eyes dull with sadness. "Your Majesty," Milo exclaimed, rushing to the king's side. "I've come to take you back home." King Clutter's eyes brightened with hope. "Oh, you've come," he cried. "I knew you wouldn't let me down." But before Milo could reply, a loud voice boomed through the room. "So you've brought the farm boy to me," sneered the miller's son, entering the room with a menacing grin. "Thought you'd be a bit smarter than to come here, didn't you?" With a sudden surge of anger, Milo stood up to the miller's son, his eyes flashing with defiance. "Let him go," he demanded, his voice echoing with power. "Why should I?" taunted the miller's son, taken aback by Milo's sudden boldness. "Because you have no right to keep him prisoner." The miller's son laughed, but there was a nervous edge to his voice. Clearly he hadn't expected Milo to stand up to him. The struggle between Milo and the miller's son intensified, each determined to outwit the other. Suddenly a small voice piped up from above. "Leave him alone, you bully," cried Pip, the mouse, appearing on the windowsill with a determined glint in his eye. "And while you're at it," squeaked another voice, belonging to a tiny field mouse, "let us out of here too." More mice joined the chorus, their tiny voices echoing with bravery. Seeing his chance, Milo lunged for the key to the cage. As the miller's son grappled with the mice, he fumbled with the bars, his hands shaking with frustration. Just as he was about to break free, the sound of heavy footsteps approached. Startled, Milo and the mice froze. It was the badger. "What's all this commotion?" it demanded, barging into the room. As the badger loomed over them, its eyes narrowed. The miller's son broke down, confessing everything he had done. When the badger heard his lies, his face contorted with anger. "How dare you!" he roared, lunging for the miller's son. "Get out of my forest!" With that, the badger, along with Milo and the animals, marched out of the tower and into the Whispering Woods. As the moon climbed higher in the night sky, bathing the forest in silver light, the animals gathered around a clearing. King Clatter, his feathers now puffed up proudly, addressed the group. "Without your help, I would still be trapped," he said, his voice filled with gratitude. "You are all heroes." Each animal, from the smallest mouse to the wisest owl, basked in the glow of their collective triumph. The bond between them had grown stronger, forged in the fires of adversity. In the days that followed, the news of Milo's bravery spread throughout the land. He became known not just as the farm boy, but as Milo the Brave, the hero who could speak to animals. And as for the animals, they continued to live on the farm, forever grateful to Milo for his friendship and courage. They understood now that it wasn't just Milo who possessed the gift of understanding animals. It was all of them, bound together by a shared experience, by the knowledge that together they could overcome any challenge that came their way. And so the tale of Milo the Brave and his animal friends echoed through the ages, a timeless reminder that the greatest strength comes not from physical power, but from the bonds of friendship and courage. Thank you for joining me on this wondrous adventure. May the tales of bravery and kindness shared today inspire you to embrace the magic in everyday life. Until next time, farewell.